Season 5 and Loba have been out for about a week now, and it seems that everybody is starting to get a good feel for her and the new meta. It is clear that she is not the weakest legend, but the main question on everybody's mind is, how good is she? This video will be divided into two parts. The first part I will be doing my best to answer the question of what I think of Loba and how good I think she is. The second part being an advanced tip guide on how to best use Loba and how to get the most out of her abilities. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. So I keep getting asked what I think of Loba and how good do I think Loba is. There is no doubt that Loba has a lot of power behind her abilities. It does seem that the developers are a bit scared of making a new legend too powerful, because all of her amazing moves come with a caveat of small downsides in a variety of ways that impacts the effectiveness of the moves. Coming over to Loba as a Pathfinder main, I had a big surprise awaiting me when I was trying to master Loba's tactical. It is just not the same, and me trying to use it the same as the grapple got me killed a lot. But after many deaths and failures, I started to figure out the nuances and the differences between the two. I was pleased to discover that the move itself is very powerful when used correctly. However, in my opinion, it does feel sort of like a discount Pathfinder's grapple. That doesn't mean that it isn't good. In fact, it is still a fantastic move. But in many of the situations I would find the teleport most effective, it just seemed to be less effective than the grapple. Clearly, them trying to balance this teleport to Pathfinder's grapple had some role in the overcompensation towards the nerf of Pathfinder's grapple. With the lengthy time it takes to teleport, loud sound effects, and the surprising limit to how high you can throw it, combined with the long animation after you throw it to fire your weapon, there is a lot of limiting factors to the teleport and the things that you have to consider when using this ability in combat. However, with just a couple tweaks, this ability could have been one of the best moves in the game, so I do understand the developers' reluctantness to make it really strong. So I do understand them in that regard. I do feel they did the same thing with the ultimate though. It's an amazing move that seems a little bit limited with the range of the device and the fact that you can only collect 2 items and not a lot of ammo. All things considered though, with tweaks to the power of these two moves, you could really impact the power of this legend without really having to change anything about her. So she is in a really good state going forward in the game, and we're really only 1 or 2 updates away from her being in a really good meta state, depending on how she does. And really the developers with all the numbers, they're going to be the ones that figure that out. And I really hope they make the right decisions and are able to bring her to the top of the tier list. Overall, I do have to say I am pleased with her and what she brings to the table and how she was designed as a legend. I do think that she could use just that little bit of love in the future updates. This is at least my opinion a week in and could change more over time as people begin to master her. I would have to say though that she's not quite top tier, maybe just a tier under that, and maybe not quite as good at the top tier ranked play. But like I said, just a couple tweaks and really that would be all the difference to put her over that edge. Now let's get into some advanced tips so you guys can start dominating your games with Loba. I don't want to waste your time with the same beginner tips that are in all the other Loba tutorials on YouTube. So if you have not yet gotten into a firing range with Loba and learned the basic mechanics of all of her moves, I would do that first. Let's start with Loba's tactical. Be cautious when throwing her tactical and always try to place yourself around cover and towards safety. It takes a long time to throw and a long time to get your weapon ready, so using it mid-fight to reposition will get you killed a lot. So don't just recklessly teleport on top of people. Try to teleport beside them under some cover and just be really smart about your placement. Know where you're gonna land before you land there. Take high ground and position before a fight instead of during a fight. If you want to use it as an escape, make sure that you have a moment to throw the ability safely, as it does take some time. Use doors, windows, and your surroundings to buy yourself some time when throwing the ability, since you cannot use weapons, reload, heal, or move quickly. When you are in need of a quick escape, don't just try to chuck it off into the distance, but instead try to teleport quickly on adjacent high and low ground. Anywhere that you can throw a grenade into, you can teleport into. Use this to get into buildings through roofs, cracks and holes. Sections in between buildings oftentimes have small gaps that you can throw it into. There will be many smart plays and nifty teleports that are done using this, so experiment around the map, and especially whenever the map switches over to World's Edge. The arc when throwing the ability will adjust a moment after releasing the button, unlike the grenade arc, so be careful with that when throwing it in exact spots. Use it to quickly get away from caustic gases. The ability is very loud overall and can be heard from rather far, so expect enemies to always be aware of where you are when teleporting. It is not a silent move and a stealthy play. It can be paired well with jump pads to be mobile while re-equipping your weapon. That's about it for the tactical, so let's go into the advanced tips for the ultimate now. Now, the ultimate for Loba, when used effectively, can be really strong in all stages of the game. In the early game, landing around the charge stations and using them at the start of the map, this will give you the ability to grab the best loot in the area before everyone else does. Prioritize grabbing shields, backpacks, extended mags, and legendary items. Even though this ability can be very powerful, it does have a little bit of a range and it is a little slow, so oftentimes if there is a lot of people contesting the area, they can get some of the best loot before you, so be cautious when landing at contested areas. Throughout the mid-game, landing on these charge stations can be very effectively to quickly scan and get an idea of the loot in the area, and then just quickly move on while rotating. Make sure that you are using this ult as often as you can, because it can be easy to forget about once you have good loot. Use the ultimate ability to block doorways much like a caustic gas trap. Loba's ultimate goes through walls, supply bins, death boxes, but not care packages. One of the first things people told me to do was steal loot from a care package whenever someone opens it. Although this is a cute move, it isn't always the most practical in every match. However, many fail to see the more practical way of stealing an enemy's loot whenever you are nearby a third party, especially in endgame situations. Trying to snag all the loot from those death boxes that the other team just killed is really funny actually. You can also use it to loot the death boxes inside of the storm when you don't have time to stand inside of the box and loot because of the storm damage. The radius of the ult is horizontal, so use it to loot vertical buildings like Cage in Kings Canyon and Capital City in World's Edge. I oftentimes had chat tell me to break the ult after using it so enemies can't use it. This can be useful if there's a lot of good and stuff inside of it, but in many cases it's unnecessary. Like in endgame situations, you could use it to gather additional information about what is new loot in the area and recently killed players. It can also take a little bit of damage as well, so it can partially be used to block lines of sights and windows. It can be blocked to block hallways, and like I said earlier about locking doors. Although it doesn't have much health, so don't use it as like a go-to cover source, it can be quite effective. Have it beside you ready to use in late game combat situations for those quick unexpected armor swaps as well. Make sure that you keep up using these charge towers that are feeding you and your teammates ultimates. That way the enemies cannot use the charge towers as they go by them. I do wonder if they will be adding charge towers to World Edge, as I don't currently know. If you do know, please sure to let me know in the comments section below. Now for Loba's passive. There isn't really a lot you need to know here. You can ping the loot through walls if you zoom in on any scope or use a sniper scope. That way you can also get a better look and start pinging these things so you don't have to go through the entire building just to check what that one purple item might be. This can be a really great ability at times when you're landing in the game if you see like a purple armor is in a bin and stuff. And personally, I like the state of the move completely and I wouldn't change a thing. I personally have been really enjoying Loba overall. I don't know if I'm going to quite continue maining her all season long. I think I'm going to start mixing up the legends I use a little bit now that I feel kind of lost without Pathfinder. But I do think that I'm going to be playing a lot of Loba this season overall, including in ranked gameplay. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't already, don't forget to drop that like And subscribe if you haven't already with that notification bell turned on. I do make weekly videos like this one. I post nearly daily live streams here on this channel. So if you want more tips about any of the other legends, or just you want to chat about things in the game, make sure you stop by my live stream and shoot me a comment. I'm very interactive chat. I have another video coming out very shortly. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys on that next one.